Things just went horribly bad. I'm gonna keep you guys going here. Let's hope I don't slide off, because if I do, it is not gonna be pretty. This is big enough for a vehicle to go through. This is big. But it is not original as far as I know. The tracks of the former Erie Railroad still exist today, but that's not all that exists. Because when I documented this place on foot, I found something, and it's directly beneath me right now, and I vowed to return to explore it. But beyond that, we have a few other surprises in store. So if you want to see what's down there and what else we're checking out, all you need to do is come along with me. Today's mode of transportation is Blue Lightning. This is going to be suitable for traversing the area here of both the old Erie Railroad and another railroad, which we're going to be covering because there's something else there as well. But just for context, we are here standing in the gauge of the old Erie tracks. They were last used early 1980s at the latest. And although certain sections are gone, this particular section is still intact. And they're actually used further down, a little bit less than a mile, by R.J. Corman to clear a switch. So a section of the Erie is used for that, but the Erie tracks themselves, which go south in that direction, north in this direction, I've not seen any train traffic in over 40 years. But I have covered multiple parts, multiple sections of it on foot, basically walking end to end in different sections. I don't remember if it's part 4 or 5, but whatever one it is, I will link it down below, where I did walk that section to where we couldn't go any further, and I made the discovery, which I'm standing on top of right now. Now we can easily head down right now, check it out, but I'm gonna make you guys wait for a little bit, because there are 2 other places I want to take you to. There's another location which we have documented a few times, but it's been a while, which is also under the Erie. But then we're gonna head off of Erie, go down to another set of old rail lines, which are no longer there, but something else still does exist. So I think we're gonna head to that one first, and we'll check it out. You may remember, because I was there a few years ago, but I'm curious how it looks today and see what it's like in current times. Not too bad in the gauge right here, but we have to get out of the gauge in just a moment, as it's no longer accessible within the rails. We'll have to go alongside of them. Off to the right is the golf course. A little bumpy here, so I'm gonna try to cushion it with my knees. Get past this rock blockage on the left here, and then we're gonna get out of the gauge, as there is a pretty big tree and it's severely overgrown further ahead. As I mentioned, the rails are here, but up here it's overgrown. There's no way you can make it through it. And also to mention that where we're riding is perfectly fine, but to access this area, I did have to go through private property, which I did obtain permission for. So just in case you're curious how I got here, I did go the safe legal route, did obtain permission, and I'm okay to use their property to access this. Although there is different ways to access it, I wanted to take the shortest, most direct route. Now we're gonna stay along the Erie for a little bit of time, maybe a mile, give or take a little bit, and then we're gonna drop down to the left through a connecting trail to pick up another railroad. One that hasn't been around for a long, long time, but it's been well documented, not only locally, but also through my channel, as I have also walked and covered multiple different sections of it. But it's a different type of freight, I shouldn't say freight, train service than what the Erie was. Rail line is a little bit elevated off to our right, a lot of tree growth in between it. And I've always heard people say it'd be a great line for like speeders or homemade rail carts, but you'd have to do a lot of clearing of the line. It would take a lot of effort, a lot of time, because for a few miles you have tree growth in between it. So although the rails are probably still capable of holding a rail car, well, unless you have like built-in chainsaws on the front of it, you won't be getting very far. All right, we're gonna drop down here, hopefully find a connection to where we have to go, which I believe is over here. And we should be getting down to the other rail line in just a moment. All right, here we are. This may not look it today, but this is another former rail line known locally as the Laurel Line. There's electrified trolley service that took passengers between Scranton, Dunmore, and Wilkes-Barre. And although there are a few areas where there's still some rails in existence, this particular patch here, they are completely gone. But they did service this place on the left-hand side, which many of you already know what that is and where we are. But there is something further back going north that I had documented several years ago, and I am curious how it's holding up today. So after I cover some ground, make some headway, we'll be arriving momentarily at our first destination. Swampy area off to our left, all the dead trees, so it's pretty bright over there. Let me go back into another canopy here. Now, when I have documented this line, there are some old railroad ties off to our right. Now, I don't know if the rails themselves were right there or where we are, because typically next to train tracks there is space for vehicles for maintenance away or whatever it could be. But yeah, some of the ties are still here. I'm thinking that the ties are in the location of where the rails were. So just wanted to let you know what we're looking at. We're not necessarily riding right where the tracks were. I think they're off to our right. And we are nearing our location. Should be right around here somewhere. Yep, I found it. Let me park the bike. So that's looking where we just came from. That's looking north where the lines would have continued. And just to show you, as I was mentioning, the ties are still here. And I'm pretty sure this is the old rail line right here. But what's more fascinating for me, it's what we're standing on top of right now, what's beneath us. You can see some water right here, and you may or may not be able to hear it, but it's going beneath where I'm standing. Now over here, there's not really a whole lot to see. It's what's on the other side that's more impressive, but I just wanted to give you a really quick view here. You see what I see? Old stone culvert. And it has a pretty bad blockage right here. I even see some, maybe steel down there too, it looks rusted. And this water is like a darkish brownish color. It's not AMD, it's from, I believe, I always screwed up. It's either tannin or tannus. It's the decomposition of materials that turns to that dark brown color. But the other side is more fascinating and impressive, not only for looking at it, but I've actually snorkeled the waters. Some of you may remember the video, some of you may not, but the one thing I made a mistake of is when I entered the water, I silted it up really, really bad. So visibility went from about 95% down to about 60%. I don't want to make that mistake today. Also, I'm picking up an odor because I did think about snorkeling it again. I'm like, if I do it, I know how I could do it differently without silting it up. Although I do have my snorkeling gear with me, I don't think I want to do that because I do smell, it has a smell now where it didn't before on my previous visit. Let's see, I think we could probably get on the rocks here and get you some underwater footage with my 10-foot water stick, as I'm calling it, with you guys right here. And also, my last visit, I don't remember it being this brown. I think it was more just dark and clear, but I did snorkel in here. It does not get, really deep, but deep enough. But I could see there's some, what do you want to call it? Deterioration, where some more rocks have broken off and fallen in. It looks like a fresh fall right here with these rocks. And there's a lot of bigger boulders in there kind of plugging it up. That was, I'd say, excuse me, when I was in there about chest deep. So it was deep enough. So what my plan of attack is to safely get onto this rock and or that rock, mount you guys on here, and just get you some underwater footage. I think there was fish last time. They were hiding under the rocks though, and I silted it up, but it made it like trying to see through beer goggles. So let me do what I need to do, and then we'll pick up somewhere right down here. Things just went horribly bad. I was mounting you guys onto the other stick, and it has a magnetic mount, which I thought it clipped onto, As I started tightening it, you guys fell off into the water. It wasn't recording, and it went down into the muck. I stepped in to get you guys, not realizing it's deeper than I thought. I almost went face first into the water. I am all wet right here, and I silted it up. Not a great start. I wish I was recording on that, but I don't think you guys would have seen much except a droop right in the water. But regardless, we're down here now. I'm gonna do my best to get to the rocks without stirring up anymore, but the water definitely stinks. So I'm glad I'm not snorkeling it, and I can show you more of the deterioration. There's like bubbles coming up next to me too. All right, I think we're back on track. Let's finally do this. Turn my mic off. I am sitting on the rock now, and it's nasty. There's all kind of crap floating around me. It's cloudy down there, clear up here. So we're gonna do what I can. Just to show you really quick though, the deterioration of the stonework here. This is going to have to be addressed at some point. And I don't think it happened by man, I think it happened naturally. Freeze-thaw cycles, rain, erosion, it was kind of eating it away, and it just, gravity took over and fell down, and that's basically what these rocks are right here. So I don't remember it being that bad. It looks pretty fresh. That side's holding up a bit better. I think that tree is actually helping hold it up as well. But I'm gonna extend you guys out and enjoy the view beneath the surface. Here's a look through the other side. I believe I walked through it last time. You guys saw the footage before me, although I was able to actually see the screen through the water. Obviously, much cloudier down there, clearer up here. Some pockets here or there that kind of go under the rocks, under the roots. Looks like another planet down there, almost like Mars with the coloration. Definitely smelly, but it is from the decomposition of materials. Also evidence of beaver action right here. But I did walk through there last time. So if you want to see me snorkel this and see what's on the inside, I will link the video down below. But it was not graceful by any means of me getting to where I am right now today. It definitely would have been a fail army video. I thought for a second I was going head first and my phone's on me, my protection's on me. Wouldn't have been good if I went under unprepared. But now that we got what we wanted to get, we're gonna get top side, head south, get back up to the Erie line for location number 2. Boy, that shit was nasty. Even my palm of my hand is like stained orange. I was only in it for a brief period of time. I'm so glad I didn't snorkel that water. And here we are back at the Erie. So now we need to find location number 2. I know where it is in the general vicinity, but if you're not paying attention to where or what you're looking for, you could easily bypass it. So I'm gonna keep my head on a swivel, look for the clues I'm used to seeing, And we should be there momentarily. Yep, there it is. Right here beneath us. Yeah, see? These tracks are holding up pretty good for how old they are. Even the tires are not terribly rotted out yet. Hardware's still in place. Would be a nice line to reopen for a type of rail cart. So, parked here. As you saw where we came to a stop, there's some stonework here, stonework further down there, which means there's something beneath us. This one is a bit more impressive than the one we came from. Although there's no depth to it, it might even be completely bone dry. It is interesting because it's not a straight through culvert tunnel. From what I remember, it goes at about a 45-degree angle. So we just came down there and that's what we're working with. Like I said, significantly more impressive. Noticing a few things out front here from my last visit. There's some blockages. It's blocked up at the portal. There's also a dam right here too, which I'm thinking most likely is natural. A lot of logs and sticks here, a lot of stones. I'm thinking natural just from the rushing of water coming through. And I think I remember seeing this last time, the pipe, which is more exposed though, at least down here. But as I was mentioning, you can see it does not go straight through. There's a bend in there. And there's some water in there. I'm not looking forward to walking through that. It's probably gonna be mucky and stinky and nasty, but I came here for a reason and I'm wearing the right shoes to do so. I got a new pair of covered, closed-toed sandals for some water adventures. So this one's so tall I can't even get it, all of it in the frame, even though I'm using a wide angle camera. Let's take a first glance in here. Yeah, it doesn't look good. But the stonework, the overall infrastructure of it is holding up quite well compared to the last one. This one's not going anywhere anytime soon. The other one was more of like a box shape or rectangle, where this is obviously arched, circular. You can see the water line in here where it normally would be, but this blockage here is preventing water from flowing through unless it comes up and over. So there's a lot of standing water in there at most times. So this is gonna have to be addressed at some point too with this, and you guys are on the other little dam right there. So I don't want to walk through here more than I have to, so I'm going to come back at you guys and we will go through together. And I'm probably going to complain. I'm going to let you know in real time how it is walking through this crap, but it is what it is. We're here to have an adventure, to do some exploring, and I will need a good power washing when I'm done. Just a quick observation, I just noticed there's a secondary pipe right here. Partially exposed, where this one is mostly exposed. So they're running parallel to each other underneath the area here. Now I don't know the purpose of those. I do know on the other side of this, where the water would be coming from, is a wetlands, swampy area. But as why the pipes are there, that I don't know. It may have had a different purpose back in the day, but this was specifically built for the Erie Railroad, as was the other one built for the Laurel line. Much smaller, the other one, not nearly as long or extensive, but this one and our third location were put in place so the Erie Railroad tracks could go over the water. So I don't know the dating of this, but as I've speculated, based on how old the Erie tracks are here and the stonework, I would easily guess 1800s. Oh, that does not look good at all. I'm gonna try to stay above ground as much as I can, because there's even a film on the water. Ugh, looks like almost like sewage, like radioactive sewage. But we can see the pipe right there. Let me step over. Ugh, muck. There's the pipe. And then it's completely exposed right here. So before we go any further, let me show you how it is in here, because again, it is different. So we came straight in from that angle, and then we have a bend here, which we're standing in right now. with a secondary arch. So it's almost like they built two culverts from opposite ends meeting in the middle as one culvert. That's how it appears. I'm not saying that's how it is done, but it does resemble like when they do boreholes or tunnels, they go from opposite ends, meet in the middle. But this looks like secondary construction of two different archways. And as to why they did it the way they did, that I don't know. You figure they'd make it just a straight, clear shot. Most culverts are like that. Very few that I've explored have angles. I think now we have to walk the balance beam to get across it. I do not want to step in that muck. So here's the other side. It is pretty fascinating. And this is all built by hand, maybe ropes and pulleys. But I mean, some of these stones compared to the size of my hand, I mean, that's probably 2.5, 3 feet across, 15 inches up and down. Easily it weighs probably close to 400 or 500 pounds. But it is holding up incredibly well. I mean, there's nothing happening inside here. Also, it helps that there's no longer heavy multi-ton trains vibrating going across the top of it. I'm gonna keep you guys going here. Let's hope I don't slide off, because if I do, it is not gonna be pretty. Oh, there's a coupler here. It's like a sleeve. They may have did a repair there, or maybe where two sections of pipe met. But that's a sleeve, and those are all little anchors that tighten it on there. Oh, don't lose it. Okay, we are, I think, in pretty good hands now. Also, you can see size of the scale compared to me. I know you got a tree right in front of you, but that's the only place I can position you without getting you guys submerged in mud. I'd say it's probably close to 8 feet. This way, maybe 6 by 8, roughly. I've been through here multiple different times though, over probably the past 10 years. Sometimes water flowing through, sometimes bone dry. This is probably the nastiest I've ever seen it though, where not only with the blockages, where this is just stagnant, sticky water mud, but also the blockages themselves are bigger, more severe than they ever have been. But the outside of this too is equally impressive, so let's check that out. And there's the water source, wetlands area. Levels are down. It's not dried up, but they are down a few feet. But this right here is pretty significant. I think this is probably done by a beaver. Looks like beaver work. And this is where we just came out of. Like I said, it's impressive. This side here, not really coming through where I'm standing, but it's curving. So it's kind of going, it's sticking out further here, curving in, flat, and then angles back out. So this one has a bit more design elements to it than your most traditional stone culverts. So this one, I always enjoy sharing, revisiting, showing to you guys who've seen it before, or even new viewers who've never seen it ever. And well, at least today you could say, hey, I know of another culvert system that exists under the old Erie Railroad. Now, if we were just to climb up here, it'll take us right back up on top. But we're gonna walk through one more time, make sure we didn't miss anything, and then we'll be getting back up to the bike to head to our third and final location, which is the one I have not explored yet. So this one's gonna be new for me for the very first time. Although I've witnessed it, obviously I found it, have not gone through it. And when I did find it and checked on it a secondary time, there was some good water flow moving through it. Today, I don't think that's the case. I think it's down to a trickle. Figure if anything, I'll roll across the pipe here just in case I was to slip off. Oh, I thought that was a snake coming out of there for a second. I'm like, no, it's just a stick right there. Look like a small snake head. Just want to check this area one more time because this is the most unusual area of the culvert. And I'm calling it unusual just because, again, it looks like two culverts meeting as one. Two different archways, two different passages forming as one. So just wanted to give it a little extra attention since we're here. Now, with how big this culvert is, I don't think there'd be a time where water would go any higher. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to say if the water went up this high, this ledge right here. So it's almost like overly built bigger and stronger than it needs to be. The normal water line, you can see the orange there. That's about just below my waist. So between my knees and my waist, that's how deep the water would be during normal or high water marks. I'm certainly confident there's times where the water has been higher, but not consistently, not for long periods of time. So why they built this so big and strong as they did, I don't have the answer. Did I say that right? I don't have the answer. If you guys happen to know why it would be done like this, not only with the angle, but with how big it is, based on the water on the other side that doesn't flow through constantly, I'm all ears. It feels good to be back on the other side though. There's still mud out here. Funny enough, I actually found this culvert not by documenting the Erie, but by documenting the land around it. I don't know if I was following a water source or what I was doing at the time, but I stumbled upon this and realized, wow, this is something worth checking out. So I found it probably close to 10 years ago, maybe even longer. This has been documented on my channel multiple times, and I always enjoy coming back. But it's probably in the worst condition, at least as far as terms of water flow, as it's ever been. Structurally, it's perfectly fine. Humidity is definitely kicking up. Not terribly warm today, but extremely humid. Anything that I'm doing physically, it's coming out through sweat. So I don't look the most appealing, but it is the current conditions. As we're making our way there, let me know, are you enjoying the adventure so far? You like revisiting some of these forgotten relics of the old Erie and Laurel line and discovering a new one? I know I am. Hopefully you are as well. So here we are, back where we started today's video. Right here between the gauge of the Erie, and I wanted to show you what's going on topside because there's some natural occurrences happening of erosion and subsidence and other things which is causing these depressions here, which most likely, again, will have to be addressed at some point. Now for the water, you can't see it, but maybe 100, 150 yards in that direction is another body of water. It's a small lake or a pond. I don't remember the name of it offhand. It is part of the golf course property now, but back in the day, it was a popular swimming hole. And although it's been altered slightly, it's still pretty much how it used to be, except that there's now a spillway, concrete spillway, where the water comes down, flows through a little stream bed. Then there's a little dirt road down there, which is the equipment path for the golf course. And there's a concrete culvert that the water passes through. From there, it opens back up and comes through beneath us and out down here. The thing pointing out though, worth noting, is that you can see the edge of the land where it's like sloping down and just drops off. That's the edge of the culvert on that side. And the other one is down here. You can see some of the walls. This culvert might be longer than the one we just came from. So if that's the case, it's the longest of the three. And water is flowing through it. It doesn't look all murky and mucky and stagnant. So at the very least, I could get my feet and my hands cleaned off a little bit. But we're not going to descend down from here, even though we could. I believe I know a pathway which should be able to bring us up pretty close to it, and we'll be able to get in down there. Now down here in the water, feels great. It is much cleaner, clearer, cooler water. Give my feet a rinse, getting the tires rinsed off. So we're gonna proceed up here, and the culvert is back there, maybe 50 yards at the most. After rolling through about 30 cobwebs, taking them all in the face and on the camera, we are here at the location. There's actually a cobweb around you guys. So the culvert's right there. Was not the most direct, easiest path, but the bike made it. I could tell I haven't been back here in a long time because, again, I went through a crap ton of cobwebs. So you can see a lot of rock buildup here along the edge, and the water path is down below it. As to why all these rocks are here, I'm wondering, because I don't know if there's like a pipe system underneath here, because I have seen that before where they put big boulders and rocks over a pipe to protect it. The one thing I'm realizing that I forgot is that this has been somewhat modified. It's not a true original culvert from when it was built. Some of you could probably spot it, but for those who don't see it yet, let's get down closer and I'll explain. Standing down here in the stream bed now, the dirt, the rocks, the soil, everything is black like oil. Not a great sign. I don't know why it's so dark, but it's more than just being damp from the water. I mean, the exposed rocks themselves are pretty black. There's something metal right there. Now, although this water doesn't stink like the other ones, it's not as clear as I thought it was. Down here, it's still a brownish, murkyish color. And there are a few little tiny fish I could see through the rays of sunlight there. But I am gonna walk through it. But I wanna get up there first to show you size comparison and show you and explain why this is not a true original culvert. Now, I'm obviously gonna cloud it up and stir it up by walking through it. I don't have a choice. If we come back through and I'm able to have it get clear enough, I will get you guys some underwater footage. There are some little tiny fish swimming through here. The water actually feels really nice though, but there is no smell. So I'm happy about that. It's not staining me orange. It's just sediment that I'm kicking up. This is big enough for a vehicle to go through. This is big, but it is not original as far as I know. So a couple dead giveaways is obviously, we know this was built again for the Erie Railroad, just like the other one that we just came from. Stonework for what we could call almost like the abutment. But for the structural wall, it's stonework. And as far as I know, unless I'm proven otherwise, this water feels like exceedingly warm right here. More warmer than it should be. Unless it's proven otherwise, this was a stone culvert the whole way through. But today, it's corrugated metal and concrete, which leads me to believe at some point over the past couple decades, the structural integrity of this was compromised and they were forced to come in here to repair it and modernize it without ripping out the whole thing. So I'm thinking, since we saw on topside some of the subsidence and sinkholes and erosion areas, probably what was happening in multiple areas. And although the erosion that we saw can't go any further than the top of the culvert tunnel, if they didn't address it, it would leave a hole right down inside. But this water is like bath water in here. It's so strange. Yeah, see, it's metal corrugated pipe. And with me being 5'11", I mean, it is a good size. This is easily 10 feet tall, if not 12 feet tall. A vehicle can come through here easily, a side-by-side. I'm sure it's probably been done too. There's some rust and scale. The water line is around here, but it looks like it has been up as high as maybe up here at one time too. I mean, that's, this deep. So let me come back and get you. We're gonna walk through together. It is silting up really, really bad, so I don't think it's gonna clear up by the time we get out, but there is fish in here, which tells us it's good, healthy, clean water. It just stained really bad from the decomposition of material, the tannins, or tannus, what it's called. Whatever the proper name is, comment it down below. We're starting on the far end here, work our way in. You can see right here though, the wall is tiered. It's like steps coming down or going up. Most likely was probably that way over there. And maybe that's why all these rocks are over here. Maybe they moved them during reconstruction of this tunnel. Now, I'll be honest, there is a chance I could be incorrect, that it was built this way when they built it for the Erie. But I'm thinking highly unlikely because I've never come across an old stone culvert that has a modern corrugated metal pipe as its original design. The time elements, the time frames just don't match up. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think the likelihood is not there just because the concrete work looks relatively newer. The pipe is still in really good condition. So again, unless there's evidence pointing in another direction, this was altered in more recent times, much later than when the original culvert was built. So where I'm walking, it's about knee deep. And as we get closer to the pipe, and I'm standing in the pipe, as I mentioned, the water is like bath water. Like right here I'm walking, it's warming up significantly. It's almost like a hot tub. And that I don't know why. I don't know if it's something producing the heat, or if it's just the hot water that's exposed to the sun flowing through down here. Regardless though, it is significantly warmer. And here we are looking out from the inside, making sure I don't trip. It is like egg-shaped, but easily 12 to 15 feet tall. So here, where I'm walking, it's not stirred up yet. So some of the metal is kind of rusted and broken, but the bottom though, okay, yeah, I do feel riffles. I was gonna say, it looks like there's like something placed in the bottom, but these riffles that we see are on the bottom. They're just filled up with like a little bit of sediment, but I could feel them. And the riffles would slow the water down if it was moving through here, at a fast rate of speed. It does help slow it, kind of like speed bumps. And on the other side, more stonework. I don't see any, oh wait, there is a date up there. Okay, this may answer our question. None of the other culverts had a date. Watch my footing here, this one does. Yeah, I confirmed it. The water coming from the lake over there, coming through this culvert pipe, is really, really warm. It's bath water. But let me get positioned here, because we do have evidence right up there. From what I can see, that looks like 1950 something. The last number is just eroded, chipped away. 195 without a doubt. Now, here's where things can get potentially complicated. Is that the date of the original culvert, or the date when they modified it with the concrete and pipe? I'll tell you what I think. You could tell me the same as well. I think that's the date when it was modified. I don't think this culvert was installed in 1950, whatever it was. We'll say 1951. I think this culvert is older than that, going back to the early 1900s, if not even late 1800s. I don't have confirmation of that. I don't have any proof, just pure speculation based on the things I've covered and documented of the Erie and other abandoned rail lines and culverts in the Northeast Pennsylvania area. With that being said, this concrete work and the pipe is newer than the stone. We can presume that. I think it's a safe bet to say that. So I think that date is when they, rehabbed this culvert. I don't think that's the true original build date of the culvert. So if that's the case, that would put, if we say 1951, if we go by 1951, that would make this roughly 75 years old. Is the culvert older than that? I think so. Now, I'll be the first to admit, if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. I know I don't know everything. A lot of times it is guesswork. I do have more than a 50% chance of being correct based on the things I have learned throughout my experiences of adventures and exploring, especially covering old rail lines and culverts. So I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I do know a good bit, much of which I've learned through you guys, the viewers themselves. But if you guys happen to have anything that could point in another direction with proof, by all means, I would love to be educated on it. I'm just sharing my thoughts. If they're completely incorrect, then it is. Won't be the first time or last time I'll be wrong about something, but based on what we're seeing here, I think that's the date when this was rehabbed. And if that was the case, they would have rehabbed it when the Erie was still in service. So with that being said, have at it. If I'm wrong, by all means, call me out, tell me, show me the evidence, and I will thank you for doing so. And if you do agree with me, let me know as well. Like I said, I don't always have the facts or the knowledge. I do share on the spot my intuition, my instincts. And a lot of times watching the videos back through editing, I'm like, you know what? Why didn't you think of this instead? Why didn't you consider that? A lot of times that does happen because I'm focused on one primary thing, not considering all contributing factors. still can't get over how warm the water is. I could literally lay in here right now and be perfectly comfortable. Won't have to yell or scream or be like, ooh, the Bojangles. Underwater footage is not gonna happen. It's not in the cards for today. Not only is it really silted up for me walking through it multiple times, there's an impending storm and I don't wanna be caught out here during that. And it's only gonna cloud up the water even more. The good thing is though, is that we know where this is. We've been by it before. We will be by it again. So at some point in the future, when I'm doing a video in the nearby area, I'll make a stop here, get you some underwater footage. It's nothing super deep, maybe 3-4 feet at the most, but there are some fish in there. Who knows if there's maybe some crawfish or snails or maybe a turtle or something we didn't see. Although hopefully there's not, and he didn't want to snap at me, but I know many of you, including myself, do enjoy the underwater footage. With that being said though, today was a highly successful adventure and exploration of documenting not specifically the Erie Railroad, but what's beneath it. Because for me, that's equally as fascinating, because without these culvert tunnels, the railroads wouldn't be able to exist and they wouldn't be able to operate safely. So my hunch, my assumption, as you already know, is that this was rehabbed in the 1950s according to that builder's plate. Erie was operating before then, so the original culvert is no longer here. Now it's a combination of old and somewhat newer, even though it's still roughly 70 some years old. By all means though, any questions that I've asked that you could answer regarding this location or the previous one where it's the 45-degree angle of like tunnel meeting tunnel, would love to learn more. And if we don't get any answers, that's okay too. We're out here just to explore, have a good time, check out some history and learn more about the area of what used to exist regarding railroads, infrastructure, and today, just a water culvert. But for me, it is all part of the experience, and I find it fascinating and historically significant to document different parts of these operations. With that being said, it is getting dark. I'm ready to get out of here. Thank you so very much for coming along and joining me for a multi-part adventure as we documented culverts under the Erie and Laurel Line railroads. Take care, everyone, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.